Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Saturday morning. Glenn Kellaway from the basement. Just wanted to tell you about my day yesterday. I went record shopping. I went to a concert. It was a pretty cool day. It couldn't have gone better. I wanted to show you what I picked up. I want to tell you a little bit about the show. First of all, we drove to Kingston, Ontario, which is an hour east of us down the highway. Kingston's a fairly major center. It's not like Toronto or anything, but I don't even know what the population would be. 100,000, something like that. But um, they have a beautiful theater there called the Grand Theater. Absolutely gorgeous. Great acoustics. Right downtown. Um, a couple of great record stores in Kingston. One in particular, Brian's Record Emporium, I think he calls it. But Brian's Records. I've told you about this store before. You walk in, and it's all these handmade, really I don't know, just it's just wood piled up and made into shelving and with records like for miles. It's if he doesn't have a million records in there, I don't know. And you go in there and you're kind of lost. Like it's just kind of overwhelming. Like there's like plastic milk bins full of CDs, and he's got a tape on top of them going like this one's all Genesis related. So you pull that box out and it's all like Phil Collins and he sold Gabriel and Genesis stuff. Another box will be Beatles related. Another one, like there must be 30 of those crates just sitting when you walk in the door, and they're all piled on top of each other, and you got to go, oh, there's the folk one, and there's the blues one. It's crazy. Plus, he's got CD racks all over the place, records like you have no idea. Brian is a really cool dude who owns the store. He knows everything, and he knows the store inside out. Like so, as much as I like to look for records like the next guy, I go into Brian's with a list and go, where do I find this? Where do I find that? I'm heavy into uh, Burt Yanch and Pentangle and all that, and all those records are really hard to find. So I knew Brian would have something, and sure enough, he did. So I'll get around to that. But first of all, I want to talk about going to a concert last night. I'm wearing my vintage Bela Fleck and the Flecktones hat because I saw Bela Fleck and his wife Abigail Washburn last night at the Grand Theater in Kingston. What acoustics! They were fantastic. You've never seen more banjos in your life. I think I counted 14 of them on stage. It was great, and um, it was a banjo night. Bale, of course, plays three finger. We'll call it Scruggs style banjo, whereas his wife Abigail plays claw hammer, kind of old timey stuff. So they both came out, and they're husband and wife, and you can just tell, just the way they kibitz back and forth and the relationship they have. It's really cool. It's fun to watch. Um, Played a lot of instrumentals, a lot of vocals, where Bela just would accompany his wife as she sang like an old blues tune or some old kind of folky tune. She even did a song in Chinese because I guess she studied in China for a while in the 90s or something. Um, it was the musicianship was just off the charts. Highlights of the night for me. They did a version. If anybody's aware of the Flecktones songs, there's a song Bela composed called "Big Country," which is probably might be my favorite song he ever composed. Beautiful song, and I was so impressed that Abigail um, transitioned this to song and adapted it for clawhammer banjo. It was really good, and they were playing it really good. And I'm like on the edge of my seat watching. They get to the end of the song, and she hits a bad note. And this is a part when she's just playing the part by herself, and she hits this bad note. Like if you handpicked the worst note you could play at that moment, she found it. And then they made a joke out of it. But then after the song was over, she said, "Hey, there's no bad notes in jazz." And Bela says to her, "Yeah, but the problem is that that's not jazz." It was pretty funny. Just stuff like that went on all night long. And the other highlight of the night was Bela just released this incredible record. I don't care if you're a banjo fan. I don't care if you're anything. This is a masterpiece. Uh, Rhapsody in Blue was a George Gershwin classic song, 100 years old this year. And Bela has been working on this, believe it or not, 3 years to create his masterpiece here and adapt it to the 5-string banjo, and it is just brilliant. I absolutely love it, and what a great cover. I mean, just imagine, look at that Statue of Liberty holding the banjo. Um, anyway, brilliant album, and he played Rhapsody in Blue last night by himself, sitting on a stool, and I was just mesmerized. It was just incredible. But anyway, great show. Fantastic. If you ever get a chance to see Bela play live, it's like one of the master musicians on the planet. It's great. Um, okay, so next, what did I pick up for records and stuff? Let's start with the vinyl. Pentangle. I'm looking for Pentangle albums. I only have a couple. And I have Sweet Child, which is considered one of their great albums. And one of their early albums, which is also, I think, gets a lot of praise, is Basket of Light. I found this used in very good condition. I paid $20 for it. I don't know if I overpaid or not, but anyway, on the Reprise label, there was another copy of this sitting there. It was a German pressing, which probably would sound amazing, but it was $30, and I just, I went for the 20. So I got the Pentangle album. Let's see the gatefold. I've never even looked at this. Bert Jansch, John Renbourn, two amazing guitar players in one band. Incredible. I'm speechless when I listen to these guys play. More in the same vein. Bert Jansch, I'm just turning into a freak for. He's quickly made it into my list of probably top 5 guitar players of all time. I can't believe how good this guy was. I picked up a couple of later albums. Sam St. John might be interested in this one. L.A. Turnaround. This was recorded in Nashville, and it was recorded in a studio, Mobile Studios owned by the Faces, Ronnie Lane, and co-produced by Mike Nesmith. And also Mike's partner in crime, Red Rhodes, the pedal steel player, plays on this, who played on a lot of First National Band albums. And Klaus Foreman collaborates on this too. It is on limited edition blue vinyl. So let's see what it looks like, because it's brand new. Using my trusty banjo pick to open. You don't need a knife, man. You just got to be able to pick a banjo, and you can buy new records. Who knew? So there we go. We got an insert there with the lineup of musicians who play on all the songs. Wow, very cool. Let's see the vinyl. It's on the Earth label. These Earth recordings are supposed to be pretty good. Oh, nice blue vinyl. So, very anxious to hear that. More Bert for me to check out. And one more new Bert. This one is called Santa Barbara Honeymoon. Second of 2 albums that Bert wrote in America in the mid-'70s. Charming and addictive melodies, album highlights, reworking, because there's a dude I keep hearing about by the name of Jackson Frank, who was a folk singer from the 60s, who I guess had a very short career, very short life, but very inspirational to all these guys. I'm dying to hear some of his stuff. This was recorded at Sound City Studios in California. Production comes courtesy of Danny Lane and Phyllis Nesmith. That's interesting. Phyllis Nesmith. It's on purple vinyl. Again, let's get the finger pick. Oh, yeah, that works like a charm. Oh. Here we go. Now this one's got a white thingy on it with all the details of the songs. And the vinyl is beautiful purple. Love that. Wow. Very cool. Okay, what else did I get? CDs. I got some CDs. Harry from Harry's Music Room. been on a couple of live chats with Harry, and he always mentions to me this artist called Robbie Folks. You got to check out Robbie Folks. You got to check out Robbie Folks. I checked out one of his albums called Bluegrass Vacation, which I really liked. I just hadn't bought anything from him yet, but I'm very interested in this performer. And I'm there's a store in Belleville called Chumley's, which Larry and I and Robert Hagerman from Robert Somebody we all frequent the store and pick up used CDs and stuff like that. I didn't know there was a Chumley's. I was driving by and I see this Chumley's in Kingston, and I went in and they had a great. Their vinyl was I don't know, it was pretty middle of the road stuff, like almost stuff you'd find at a thrift store. And so I wasn't that impressed with their vinyl selection, but the CDs, they had a ton of them. And I picked up this Robbie Folks album for 99 cents. I have no idea what it's like. Couples in Trouble, I'm going to check it out, but thank you, Harry, for the recommendation. One of the great singer-songwriters, Americana, I guess you'd call him, kind of the outlaw country, I guess. I don't know. From Texas, Guy Clark. Didn't get better than Guy Clark. He was a legend to so many, such an inspiration to the Steve Earles and Townes Van Zants, and all of them just idolized this man. Guy Clark. I got a chance to meet Guy once, drive around with him for about a half an hour and shoot the breeze. What a down-to-earth, incredible human being. Gone now, but his music lives on. Guy Clark, great writer. I bought this. I've never heard this one, but what attracted me was the musicians that are playing on it. All my favorite kind of bluegrass guys: Sam Bush, Jerry Douglas. So I'm not quite sure what I'm to expect on this, but Emmylou Harris is on this album, Jerry Douglas, Marty Stewart, Rodney Crowell, a lot of heavyweights. So should be an interesting album. Next, a couple named Casey and Clayton. They are from Saskatchewan. My buddy Tim at Zap Records turned me on to these guys a few years ago, and I have one of their CDs, and I quite like it. It's fairly folky, pop folk maybe, I don't know, Americana type. It's really good. They're really good, and I found their another CD used called the Sirens Song. So I have no idea again what this is going to be like, but used. I'm going to try it because I did enjoy their first album, but give these guys a listen. Casey and Clayton, not bad. Okay, now we get back into the Pentangle and Bert Yant stuff, but John Renbourn, the other guitar player from Pentangle, I have a couple of his solo albums. This man can play. Oh, these guys are just brilliant. I ended up with 3 of his CDs, which are not easy to find. $8 each I paid. This one is called John Renbourn's Ship of Fools. Never heard these. So we'll see. This one is called Wheel of Fortune with Robin Williamson. Now, the only thing I know about Robin Williamson, another guy who's in that whole circle, he plays on a couple of tracks on that Bert Yant's the BBC box set I bought. So, and the tracks are really good. So, I'm interested in hearing that. And a 2-for CD of John Renbourn albums, The Lady and the Unicorn and The Hermit. So if anybody's familiar with any of these, let me know. When I was at the show last night with Bela, I bought this T-shirt. It says "More Banjo," and then there's kind of like a shadowy image of Bela and Abigail there. So that's good. The world always needs more banjo. And I picked up, which I have had on vinyl for a couple of years now since it came out, which is just an amazing record. Bela Fleck, My Bluegrass Heart. Fantastic. But the CD, I think, has more songs on it than the album. So I picked up the CD last night while I was there because I don't have it on CD. It's a double CD. Again, I got to get something to rip this open with. This is a great frickin' album. Oh man, there we go. There's Bela and the kids. The kids were at the show last night. It was interesting. They're 5 and 10 years old, and both came out and sang a song with their mom and dad. It was kind of cool. Um, but I'm going to hold that up so you guys can see the lineup of people on this. This is pretty impressive. Michael Cleveland, Jerry Douglas, Stuart Duncan, David Grisman, Sierra Hall. Who else am I seeing on that list that I know? Edgar Meyer, Noam Pakilny, Mark Schatz, Billy Strings, Brian Sutton, Chris Diley, Tony Trishka, and Molly Tuttle. I mean, wow, pretty cool. Sam Bush, man, great, great album. If you haven't heard this, check it out. So that's everything I got. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We will be back soon. You have two thumbs. I want one. Thank you.